Okay, now let's actually see what are the security controls that we have in Salesforce. So just to begin with, if you type security under the home tab, so it basically lists down all the security settings that we have in the Salesforce. Let's first have a check at the health check. So as you can see, we have high risk security settings, medium risk, and the low risk security settings. The ones which are critical, it and shows as warning. It kind of gives you an idea that you have to kind of take some action in order to fix it. The ones which are compliant, shown here in the green, so it's basically they kind of secure and you don't have to do anything from your side. So as you can see, the security setting involved here, maybe say maximum invalid login attempts in my system is 10 and the standard value for that is 3, so it just shows it as the warning. Or maybe one of the security settings is that it enables users to verify their identity by the text. So actually our value is enabled and the standard value is also enabled, so it's kind of compliant. You can configure it according to the values which are given here in the standard value, or you can customize it depending on your own organizational requirements. Okay, next one we have is the password policies. So there are many configurations that you can do related to the password. You can set the password expiry. Currently it is set as 90 days. You can maybe make it 180 or 60 days. Then you can enforce the password history. So that's by default the 3 passwords remembered. Minimum password length which is set here is 8. It's better to have around 8 or beyond for security purposes. Password complexity requirement is set as must include alpha and numeric characters. If you want, you can have this alpha, numeric, and special characters, and so on. You can increase the complexity. Password question requirement cannot contain passwords, so that's one of the restrictions that we have set. A maximum invalid login attempts, so the standard is 3, but the default here we have set it as the default is 10. Lockout effective period, so if there are multiple invalid login attempts, so it should be eventually able to log out, so that's after 15 minutes. Or you can maybe set it to forever or 60 minutes. If you're kind of setting it to forever, only then the password can be reset by the admin. So that's it for the password policies. Okay, so the next one we have is the session setting. So we have the timeout value, which essentially means that if a user logs in and doesn't do anything, then he should be logged out. So this one, forced logout on session timeout, this one is checked. You have the session settings. You can log sessions to the domain, to the IP address. Then you have settings related to the caching. Identity verification, example, if you want to change the email, then there should be some kind of verification that should happen via the previous email address that you provided to the Salesforce. So, and then you have this session security levels. You can have multiple factor authentication, you can have passwordless login, so this can be configured. Okay, so the next one is the network access. It's basically about whitelisting of the IP addresses or giving some kind of permission to specific range of IP addresses. So only those users can log in. If the users go and try to log in using the different IP address from a different machine, then even with the password and username, they shouldn't be able to log in. So that kind of security level we can achieve using the network access. Okay, so the next one is the activations. As you can see, I have activated these many IP ranges for my username, and even for the browsers, you can see there are some browser settings which have been activated against my username. Okay, so next we have is the session management. It basically gives you an idea about the live sessions that we do have. So it essentially means that the users which are currently now logged in into your Salesforce in the system, so it enlists it all. And if in any case you want to end those live sessions, you can just simply select that, and then you can just remove those users. But in that case, it will just kill their sessions and then they have to re-log in again. So next we have is the setup audit trail. So it essentially lists down all the changes that you have done in your Salesforce. Like now we can see that I changed my password. The warning message regarding the validation rule has been changed. A new validation rule was put, and some changes on the page layout. So it basically essentially lists down all the things that I have done, changes in the Salesforce setup. And you can also download the list for the configurations. Okay, so next we have is the expire all passwords. So if you actually click here in the checkbox that expire all users passwords and save, so what will happen is it will expire all the passwords, and next time the user logs in, so they have to kind of enter the new password. It's kind of really handy if the passwords have been accidentally released, and because of security concern you have to expire all the passwords. Okay, so the next one we have is the login history. It basically tells when the person has logged in, from where actually the person has logged in. Location information is there, status. You can see here invalid password attempts have been there. From which browser the user actually logged in. What was the login URL? That's kind of, I think, same. So this kind of information is there. Moreover, I think you can do some kind of analysis on the data after downloading it in CSV or gzip file. As you can see, you can download data for all the logins, so http get TLS website logins only, and hence you can do your further analysis as required. Next one you have is the login access policies. By if this is enabled, then you can actually log in as another user and kind of figure out the difficulty or problems that the user is facing with respect to accessing a record field or whatever it is. So that's it for the organizational security settings. So these are basically organizational wide settings, and you don't actually control where the user can have an access to a particular record field, or so it's not a user specific security settings.